The price of love. I paid $60,000 for my sister's dream wedding. Then I found out I wasn't invited. You know that feeling when the ground just disappears beneath your feet? When reality splits open and you're falling through a crack you didn't even know existed? I do. I know it intimately now. Let me tell you about the day I became a ghost at my own expense. It started 6 months ago, on a Tuesday. Isn't that always how these things begin? On some unremarkable day that you'll later dissect obsessively, searching for signs you missed, warnings you ignored. My phone buzzed during a meeting. Emma's face lit up my screen. My baby sister, 24 to my 32, with those wide hazel eyes that had gotten her out of trouble since she was 3. The text was simple. Can we talk? It's important. Heart. My stomach did that protective older sister flip it always did when she needed something. Emma had always needed things. Needed help with her math homework. Needed someone to cover for her when she snuck out in high school. Needed rent money during her finding herself phase after college. And I'd always been there. My hand extended, my wallet open, my love unconditional. That's what family does, right? We met at our favorite coffee shop that afternoon. Well, it was really my favorite, but Emma had adopted it because I took her there enough times. She looked radiant, practically vibrating with excitement, as she clutched her iced latte with both hands like a life preserver. Sarah, she breathed, leaning across the small table. I'm engaged. The squeal that escaped me was genuine, whatever complicated feelings I had about Emma. And there were always complicated feelings with Emma. Happiness for her came easily. She'd been dating Marcus for 2 years, and he seemed solid, stable. The kind of guy who showed up when he said he would, who remembered birthdays, who looked at my sister like she'd hung the moon. Oh my God, Em, show me the ring. She extended her left hand, and there it was, a princess-cut diamond that caught the afternoon light streaming through the window, throwing tiny rainbows across her flushed face. It was beautiful, tasteful. Probably cost Marcus 3 months' salary from his job at the architecture firm. It's perfect, I said, squeezing her hand. I'm so happy for you. There's something else. Emma bit her lip. That gesture she'd perfected as a child. The one that preceded every big ask. We want to get married soon. Like this fall. November. I know it's fast, but we don't want to wait, and Marcus's parents can only come then because of his dad's health and… Em, breathe. I laughed. It's fine. Fast is fine. What do you need? She looked down at her latte, stirring it unnecessarily. The thing is, Marcus and we don't have a lot saved. He just made partner at his firm, but that money hasn't kicked in yet, and I'm still freelancing and… She looked up at me, those hazel eyes glistening. Mom and Dad can contribute maybe $5,000, but Sarah, I've dreamed about this day my whole life. I have a Pinterest board with 2,000 pins. I know exactly what I want. The venue, the flowers, the dress, all of it. And I know it's a lot to ask, but you've always been there for me, and I thought maybe… My heart cracked open. Of course she did. Of course I had been. Wasn't that my role? The successful older sister with the corner office and the 6-figure salary and the empty apartment that echoed with accomplishments but no real life? How much are we talking? I asked, though I already knew I'd say yes. 60,000. She said it quickly, like ripping off a Band-Aid. I know it sounds like so much, but it's actually reasonable for everything I want. The Ashford estate for the venue, it's where Mom and Dad got married, remember? And there's this designer, Vera Wang's protege, who does these incredible dresses, and the photographer who shot the royal wedding has a branch in the US now, and… Em. I reached across and took her hand. It's okay. I'll do it. Really? Her face transformed, lit from within like a cathedral window. Sarah, really? Oh my God, you are the best sister in the entire world. I promise I'll pay you back once Marcus's salary. Don't worry about it, I said, and I meant it. Money was just money. I had it. She needed it. What else was I going to do with it? Buy a bigger apartment to rattle around in alone? Consider it my wedding gift. I want you to have your dream day. Emma launched herself around the table and hugged me so hard, I could barely breathe. Over her shoulder, I caught the eye of an older woman at the next table, smiling at us with that soft, nostalgic look people get when they witness what they think is pure love. If only she knew. The next 4 months became a whirlwind of wedding planning. Emma quit her freelance work entirely to focus on it. It's basically a full-time job, she explained, which meant I covered her rent too, though we didn't explicitly discuss it. Money just flowed from my account like water, constant and necessary and barely remarked upon. I went to dress fittings, watched Emma twirl in gown after gown, each more elaborate than the last. The one she chose was breathtaking. Layers of silk and lace, hand-beaded with tiny crystals that cost more than my first car. $12,000. I handed over my credit card without blinking. I toured the Ashford estate with her, the sprawling historic property where our parents had married 30 years ago. The events coordinator quoted us $35,000 for November, including the grounds, the ballroom, the prep rooms, and the coordinator's fee. Emma looked at me with those hopeful eyes. I signed the contract. There were the flowers. Emma wanted peonies, out of season, flown in from New Zealand. Another $5,000. The photographer, $8,000 for the day plus prints. The videographer, $4,000. The band, $6,000. The cake, $1,500. The invitations, hand calligraphed by some artist in Brooklyn, $2,000. The party favors, the signage, the lighting designer, the hair and makeup team, the rehearsal dinner. Every few days, another text. Sarah, I found the perfect fill in the blank. Can you believe it's only absurd amount? And every time I said yes, because this is what family does. Because I loved her. Because some part of me, the part I didn't examine too closely, felt like this was my purpose, my value, the successful one, the provider, the safety net that would always catch her. My friends warned me. God, they tried. $60,000? My best friend Rachel said over drinks one night, her eyebrows disappearing into her hairline. Sarah, that's a down payment on a house. That's a year of living expenses. It's Emma's wedding, I said firmly. She's my only sister. When am I going to get another chance to do this for her? But Emma doesn't exactly have a history of gratitude. Remember when you paid for her study abroad program and she barely called you the whole semester? Or when you covered her car repairs and she complained it wasn't the model she wanted? She was young then. She's still young now. She's getting married, Rach. She's growing up. This is different. Rachel looked at me with something like pity, but she let it drop. They all did, eventually. My friends, my coworkers, even my therapist raised concerns in that carefully neutral way therapists do, but I was certain. This time would be different. This time, Emma would appreciate it. This time, I would matter. The irony doesn't escape me now. The call came on a Thursday afternoon, exactly 3 weeks before the wedding. I was in my office reviewing quarterly reports when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this Sarah Mitchell? A woman's voice, professional and warm, speaking.
Hi, Sarah. This is Jennifer Reeves from Elegant Affairs. I'm the wedding planner working with Emma and Marcus. I'm so sorry to bother you, but I have a small administrative question about the guest list. Of course, I said, only half paying attention, still scanning the spreadsheet on my screen. What's up? Well, I'm doing the final seating chart, and I wanted to confirm you're listed in our system as the primary financial contact, but I don't see your name on the guest list. I assume that's just an oversight? I wanted to check before I finalized the arrangements. The words didn't register at first. Like hearing a foreign language, my brain needed a moment to translate. I'm sorry, what? Your name, Sarah Mitchell? It's not on the guest list Emma provided. But since you're the one who's been handling all the payments and contracts, I assumed you were attending? I just want to make sure we have an accurate count for the caterers. The spreadsheet blurred. The numbers turned into meaningless symbols. There must be a mistake, I said slowly. I'm Emma's sister, her only sister. Of course I'm invited. A pause, a long one.
the kind of pause that precedes something terrible. Oh, Jennifer's voice changed, became smaller. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have. This is incredibly awkward. Perhaps you should speak with Emma directly. What exactly did Emma tell you? My voice sounded strange even to my own ears. Detached. Clinical. I really think. What did she tell you? Harder now. The voice I used in board meetings when someone was stalling. Another pause. Then quietly, she said that you and she had a complicated relationship, that your presence would create tension on her day, that it was better if you stayed away. I'm so incredibly sorry, Sarah. I never would have called if I'd realized. I don't remember hanging up. Don't remember the next hour. There's just a blank space where time should be. And then suddenly I was standing outside Emma's apartment, the apartment I'd been paying rent on, pounding on the door. Emma opened it in yoga pants and one of Marcus's old t-shirts, her hair in a messy bun, looking annoyed at the interruption. Sarah? What have you... Am I invited to your wedding? The color drained from her face. Who told you, am I invited? She actually stepped back. I'd never yelled at her before, not once in 32 years. I'd never even raised my voice. Sarah, come inside. Let me explain. Explain what? Explain how you took $60,000 from me and didn't even plan to invite me to the wedding I paid for? It's not that simple. Then simplify it for me, Emma. Because from where I'm standing, it seems pretty fucking simple. Her eyes filled with tears. The same tears that had worked on me our entire lives. Marcus's family is complicated. They're very traditional and they have ideas about appearances and what the hell does that mean? They think you're going to cause problems, okay? They think you're going to show up alone and be all sad and bitter, and Marcus's mom already thinks it's weird that you're 32 and not married, and she made some comment about not wanting desperate energy at the wedding, and desperate energy? I repeated it, tasted the poison of it. Is that what you think I am? Desperate? No, God, no. But Sarah, this is my wedding, my one day, and I need it to be perfect. And if there's any drama or tension, so you just excluded me without even telling me? You were going to let me find out how, the day of when I showed up? I was going to tell you, she was crying fully now. I just didn't know how. I didn't want to hurt you. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. The sound was ugly, jagged, nothing like my real laugh. You didn't want to hurt me. Emma, you took $60,000 from me. You let me plan with you, shop with you, get excited with you. I thought I was going to be there. I thought I'd be your maid of honor. You were never going to be maid of honor, she said quietly. That's Brittany. Brittany, her college roommate, the one who'd ghosted her for 2 years after some petty fight, only reconciling 6 months ago. Something fundamental broke inside me then, not cleanly like glass, messily like bones. I want my money back, I said. What? Every penny, by Monday. Sarah, we can't. The wedding is in 3 weeks. Everything's been paid for. The deposits are non-refundable. We don't have $60,000. Then you should have thought of that before you decided I was too desperate to attend. Sarah, please. But I was already walking away, down the hallway, down the stairs, out into the evening air that suddenly felt too thin to breathe. I called my parents from the car. Mom answered on the third ring. Sweetheart, we were just talking about you. Emma mentioned you helped her pick out the most beautiful centerpieces. Did you know? Did you know I'm not invited to the wedding? Silence. The kind that confirms everything. Mom, did you know? Sarah, honey, it's complicated. Stop saying that. Nothing about this is complicated. Either you knew or you didn't. Emma talked to us a few weeks ago, Mom said finally. Her voice had that placating tone I'd heard my entire life whenever Emma did something indefensible. She was worried about the dynamics, about whether you'd feel uncomfortable. About whether I'd feel uncomfortable? I paid for the entire wedding. And that was very generous, sweetheart. We're all so grateful. I want the money back. What? Sarah, don't be ridiculous. You can't just ask for a gift back because your feelings are hurt. A gift? A gift? Mom, she excluded me. She took my money and excluded me. You gave that money freely, Mom said, and her voice had turned cold now, the way it did when she'd made up her mind about something. You told Emma it was a gift. You can't take that back just because you're upset. I'm not upset, Mom. I'm devastated. There's a difference. Emma's getting married, Sarah. This is supposed to be the happiest time of her life. Can't you think about someone other than yourself for once? The words hit like a physical blow. Are you serious? Are you actually… Mom, I've spent my entire life thinking about Emma. I've paid for her life. And this is what I get? Accusations that I'm selfish? You're twisting everything. I want you to talk to Emma. I want you to tell her to return my money or I'm going to cancel everything. The venue, the flowers, the photographer, all of it. I'm the one on the contracts. My credit card, my name, my signature. You wouldn't. But she sounded uncertain. Good. Watch me. I hung up. The next 3 days were a blur of phone calls. Emma sobbing, Marcus trying to mediate, my father disappointed in my vindictiveness, friends and extended family suddenly having opinions about a situation they knew nothing about. The texts poured in. Sarah, please, you're ruining Emma's wedding. Think about how this will affect the family. Can't you be the bigger person? Emma made a mistake, but she's young. You're being cruel. Nobody, not one single person said, what they did to you was wrong. On Saturday morning, I sat in my apartment with my laptop open, looking at all the contracts. Everything was in my name. Every single thing. I had the power to burn it all down with a few phone calls. And I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But I didn't. Not because they deserved my mercy. Not because they had apologized. They hadn't, not really. The messages I received were all variations of, we're sorry you're upset, rather than, we're sorry for what we did. I didn't cancel because I realized something. Sitting there in my empty apartment on a Saturday morning, while my sister prepared for a wedding I'd paid for but couldn't attend, this had never been about the wedding. This had been about me, about my desperate need to be needed, about filling the hollow spaces in my life with the illusion that my money meant love, that my generosity meant worth, that being useful meant being valued. Emma had always taken because I'd always given, and I'd given because I needed to be the one who saved her, who rescued her, who made her dreams come true. I'd built my entire identity around being the successful sister, the reliable one, the ATM with a heartbeat. She hadn't stolen from me. I'd offered myself up for theft. The realization didn't make it hurt less. If anything, it hurt more, because it meant I couldn't just blame Emma or my parents or Marcus's family. I had to look at myself, at the patterns I'd created, the dynamic I'd enabled, the relationship I'd allowed to exist. I didn't go to the wedding, obviously. On that November Saturday, while Emma walked down the aisle at the Ashford estate in her $12,000 dress, surrounded by flowers from New Zealand and photographed by artists and celebrated by 200 guests who had no idea they were attending an event I'd funded, I sat in a coffee shop with Rachel. How are you doing? She asked gently. I don't know, I said truthfully. I keep thinking I should be angrier or sadder, but mostly I just feel empty. That's grief, Rachel said. You're grieving the sister you thought you had, the family you thought you had. That's not a small thing. My phone was blowing up with Instagram posts, friends of Emma's, distant relatives, people I barely knew, all sharing pictures from the most beautiful wedding. Emma looked radiant, glowing, happier than I'd ever seen her. Not a single photo showed any hint that something, someone, was missing. The worst part, I said, staring at a photo of Emma and our parents, is that they'll all move on. Emma will send me a thank you note for the generous gift. My parents will pretend this was all just a misunderstanding. At Christmas, they'll expect me to show up and act like everything is fine, like I'm the one who needs to get over it. And will you? I thought about it. Really thought about it. No, I said finally. I don't think I will. It's been 6 months now. Emma sent a thank you card, just like I predicted. It was lovely, expensive stationery, probably $10 a card. She thanked me for my incredible generosity and said the wedding was everything she dreamed of. She hoped we could get past this rough patch soon. There was no apology, no acknowledgement of what she'd done, just a breezy assumption that time and my continued compliance would smooth everything over. I didn't respond. My parents have called twice, both times to ask when I'm going to stop punishing everyone and let this go. Both times I've told them the same thing. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm simply choosing not to participate in relationships where I'm valued only for what I can provide. They don't understand. They might never understand. Emma's pregnant now. I found out through Facebook. She's due in July, and she's having a girl. And I'm sure at some point I'll get a call asking if I want to be the godmother, if I want to contribute to the nursery, if I want to help with the baby shower. And the old me, the me from 6 months ago, would have said yes without hesitation, would have seen it as a chance to repair things, to be needed again, to matter in the only way I knew how. But I'm learning something new now, in therapy and in the quiet of my apartment, and in the space I've created by saying no. Love shouldn't cost $60,000. It shouldn't cost anything, actually. It should be freely given and freely received, without ledgers or debt, or the sneaking suspicion that you're only as valuable as your bank account. I'm learning that being alone doesn't mean being lonely, that having boundaries doesn't mean being bitter, that protecting yourself isn't the same as being cruel. I'm learning that I don't need to fund anyone's dreams to be worthy of love. And maybe I'm learning that the most important relationship I need to rebuild isn't with Emma or my parents or anyone else. It's with myself. Last week, I used some of the money I'm no longer spending on my sister to book a trip to Italy. I've always wanted to go, but it seemed selfish somehow, spending thousands on myself when Emma needed help with rent or car repairs or emergency dental work or wedding deposits. I'm going alone, not because I'm desperate or bitter or tragic, but because I want to, because I'm choosing me. Finally, after a lifetime of choosing everyone else. Rachel asked if I regret paying for the wedding, if I wish I could go back and say no. I don't know how to answer that. Because yes, I regret being used. I regret being excluded. I regret learning that my family sees me as a resource rather than a person. But I don't regret learning the truth. Sometimes the most expensive gift you can give yourself is clarity. And sometimes clarity costs $60,000 and the family you thought you had. Would I pay that price again knowing what I know now? No. But I'm grateful I paid it once, because now I know better. And knowing better means doing better. And doing better means I'm finally free. The most common question people ask me when I tell this story is, "But she's your sister. Don't you think you'll regret cutting her off?" And I always give them the same answer. I didn't cut her off. I stopped paying the toll to cross a bridge that only led one direction. There's a difference. Emma is welcome in my life as soon as she sees me as a sister instead of an ATM. As soon as my parents see me as a daughter instead of a problem to be managed. As soon as any of them are willing to acknowledge what they did and why it was wrong. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm also not holding grudges. I'm just holding boundaries. And for the first time in my life, that feels like enough. The truth is, I gave Emma her dream wedding. She got everything she wanted. The venue, the dress, the flowers, the fairy tale. I just finally realized I deserve a fairy tale too. and mine doesn't include being a ghost at my own expense.